Well, pizza is one of America's most eaten foods. Burgers, chicken wings, and pizza are the three big segments of the food industry here. Internationally, pizza is number one food, prepared food that's consumed by the world. It's just beloved, and for that reason, more and more pizza restaurants are opening, but more and more people are eating pizza, so there's a bigger share for all of us.
All right. So, hey guys, thanks again for joining us today for our Best Franchise Networks Fireside Chat. Today we do have the pleasure of speaking with Kim and Derek with Russo's New York Pizzeria. We are going to learn all about their company and the benefits of being a future franchisee and what they would expect moving forward. So before we, get into all the nitty gritty stuff, I'll pass it off to Kim. Give us a little high level overview of the business and, how'd you start? Where did the idea come from? How's the success been? Tell us about it.
Well, Russo's New York Pizza is a brand that's been around for 25 years. The Russo family started in Sicily and moved to New York in the 1950s and 60s. Young Anthony Russo, who's the CEO of our company, grew up in the restaurant business, Italian food, Italian kitchen, pizza. The family moved from New York down to Galveston, Texas in 1996. And 2 years later, Anthony told his dad he wanted to open his own pizza operation up in Houston, which was about 40 miles north of Galveston. And he started with his Russo's New York Pizza in Houston. And over the past 22, 23, 24 years has been responsible for either opening or franchising for others about 66 Russo's New York Pizza restaurants, primarily in Texas, Oklahoma, and Florida. The brand has endured, 9/11. It's endured the boom and bust in the stock market. It's endured COVID, and actually here post-COVID, we're flourishing in the pizza segment because more and more pizza is being consumed by the public. Most of it is consumed off-premise, meaning that people order online, they do takeout, delivery, catering, etc., so that 60-70% of our business in some locations is consumed away from the premise, which gives us some advantages going forward.
Now, what exactly is, with all of those things in mind, what is the perfect fit as far as a franchisee goes? Who is the company looking for to represent?
One of the things that I want to point out is that, pizza doesn't require anyone to be a culinary graduate or a chef or whatever. This is a very, very simple process. So we're looking really for business people who have some experience managing others, who can be taught, who have the understanding that a payroll has to be met, rents have to be paid, etc. So they need to invest in a profitable business. Right. Pizza and Russo's in particular are highly profitable because we don't require a lot of skilled labor. Entry-level employees can be taught to assemble pizza to make it look like the picture every time. There's very little waste, and it's quite frankly a food that can be prepared just prior to consumption. So products, ingredients, etc., don't sit on the shelf hour after hour, day after day unused and become waste. We look for people that have financial ability to develop a restaurant. And then we're also looking for people of good character. We're in the hospitality business, so we like people to be hospitable, gregarious, outgoing people who enjoy being around others. And if you have the financial ability if you're located in an area that we can develop, if you have some supervisory skills, supervising other people, whether it's in the restaurant industry or not, we can work with you.
Hey, well, it's definitely important to have those kinds of backgrounds, especially when, you're running such an in-depth, well, not quite in-depth. You said it's pretty simple itself, but of course, people think pizza, they say, oh, I need to have the Italian food background. I need to have all of these, different qualifications and characteristics as a person to start it. But from what it seems like, it really just takes a certain build of, business savvy, people-oriented person to, make it successful. So, it's really good for the people who are looking to get, involved with it.
Well, this Italian background isn't a requirement.
Mm-hmm.
We have franchisees of all types of nationalities, Indian, Pakistani, Mexican.
Sure.
We have franchisees that are Saudi Arabian. Uh, we have 6 locations in the Middle East, and all of those managers and owners are Middle Easterners. So
Yeah.
you could say, what do they know about Italian food? Well, all they need to know is what Russo's can show you how to do, which is a simple pizza and make it look like the picture every time, and you'll get
Hmm.
the same result.
Absolutely. And hey, if it looks like the picture, then it tastes like what the picture should suggest. So, success comes in all shapes and sizes. And it's, really great to see that, there's not such a strict build of franchisee that you guys do look for, as, Russo's has success from all different places.
Well, one thing I want to point out here is that whether you're considering one franchise or another, the most important thing to look at is, can you make money at the unit level? At the end of
Right.
the day, after you build the store, you train the employees, you buy the inventories, you market the place, and open for business, the question is, can you make profit? One thing Russo's has used to survive the wars and the economic downturns and COVID, et cetera, is every month our stores make a profit. The margins in pizza are huge. The cost of product, meaning the pizza itself, is just a very small portion of our expense. Our labor costs, because we don't have skilled culinary laborers, basically entry-level hourly employees, is among the lowest in the industry. And because most of our pizza is consumed away from the premise, we don't need a huge square footage floor space. We don't need to be paying high rents for 3,000 square feet that we only use 900 square feet of to prepare.
Right.
And the last thing is, we don't need as much equipment as we did in the past. When we were doing food service with most of our guests on site, we needed tables, chairs, cash registers, waiters, waitresses, that type of thing, dishwashers. Now virtually everything goes out in disposable paper, consumable products. And so the profit margins are huge with Russo's New York Pizza.
Good to know. I mean, it's definitely become something that is easy to acquire, easy to take home to your family and enjoy with your friends. And with all of that in mind as well, is there something that, is it something that you require for the franchisee to have prior experience in this industry?
No, we simply look for business people who have
Right.
had some experience managing others. And it
Okay.
doesn't matter if it's in retail, if it's in other environments that really have nothing to do with food or pizza. This is a people business. So the ability to oversee other people, to get their cooperation, to train them, to be sympathetic to some of these employee needs that come up from time to time. Mothers with children that are sick and can't go to school, call in sick. You need to be tolerant of that.
Right.
If you've had management experience in almost any retail field, you're going to understand that this is a people business. Now, people that don't have that kind of experience, I mean, maybe people that have been supervised themselves, but don't really have the ability to step in and supervise others right now, probably wouldn't be as successful. But
Right.
anybody that has supervised other people, met a payroll, been responsible for scheduling other people, would be successful with Russo's.
Sure, absolutely. So I take it they don't need to have, owned their own business in the past in order to be successful, just as long as they have, the empowerment skills, the leadership, background to their own experience.
That's right. Really, when you look at this segment, the pizza segment, it's more of an entry level uh, franchise.
Right.
Uh, you don't need to have previously owned and operated your own business. Many people that are entrepreneurs started out, you know, with one unit and then developed a second, a third, a fourth, and
Sure.
10 years later end up with 20 pizza restaurants doing $20 million a year and have created their own enterprise. So this is a great way to start. If you like it, you can grow, and there's really no limit to how many stores you can open, depending on your ability to supervise and your financial ability to construct new stores.
Awesome. So it seems like you guys are truly growing very rapidly, especially with, as you mentioned earlier, the economy taking its flips and turns, its little roller coaster effect. So I know it's really great to see that people, even though they are starting out with one unit, they can grow into multi-unit owners. And that kind of helps me get into my next question of what markets in particular are you trying to expand into in 2023 and 2024?
Well, it makes sense for any franchise company to grow where they're known. Uh, our headquarters is Houston, Texas, and we have most of our stores, 40 or 50 of them, located in the state of Texas. So Texas, we have stores in Oklahoma, we have stores in Florida. Those areas are prime for backfilling, adding additional stores where we already have distribution set up, where we already have real estate sources that can help find sites, where we already have lending sources that can help finance some new franchise growth, where we have headquarters people doing store visits, adding another 3 or 4 stores to Oklahoma. That's simple to do. I
Sure.
think as we get a little further away, uh, 500 miles away, it becomes more difficult for the franchisee to get a toehold simply because the brand's not as well known as maybe some competitors in that market. That's not to say we wouldn't be able to do a deal, but I think our primary focus would be kind of the Southeast United States, and I think we're willing to go into additional units in the Middle East and in Europe. Pizza's
Sure.
booming there, and
Yeah.
we have leads and prospects. We're working now in England and France. So
Wow.
more from those areas, I think, could conceivably be developers for us.
Wow. So you guys have definitely gone international. You have a presence all across, or hopefully soon all across the world. It sounds like you guys truly have a ton of support as well. I mean, you're going to help them get set up, find their locations, help them with marketing. Tell me a little bit about the sales and marketing process and how specifically that you do support the franchisees once they get, their ball rolling.
Well, we're a franchise company that provides support services that help a franchisee get into business and, more importantly, stay in business. Uh, we have a team of folks that will help identify sites and help negotiate with landlords for leases or sellers if it's a property that the franchisee wants to buy. We have a training program which allows the franchisee to send managers in for training in one of our training stores. And then once the manager is trained and the store is ready to open, we send a team of trainers out to that store to help the manager hire and train his hourly employees.
Wow.
And they'll remain on site for several weeks until the store is humming along, and then the manager can operate from there. We have purchasing and distribution set up so that the franchise store will receive supplies, and we can lock in prices so that it's predictable what the costs are going to be.
Wow.
So, I mean, that's a real plus because, one-off stores buying for themselves could be paying 20% more for product than a chain can go in and negotiate with these purveyors and vendors. And then the last piece of it is ongoing site visits from operational uh, people who meet with the manager, talk about any issues or problems or concerns the manager has about the store, the employees, profitability, and then we report back to the franchisee if he is not the owner. I mean, if the owner is not the manager of the store, an owner could have 3 or 4 stores. We meet with the managers and then report back to that owner. Here's what we found at that store. And if there's areas that need to be remediated, the manager and the owner can focus on that. If store is humming right along, then the owner feels pretty good that things are moving forward. We assist with marketing. We assist with grand opening. We assist with press releases to let people know that new stores open in the area. We're a full service franchise company with support services that are comparable or perhaps superior to some of our competitors.
That's fantastic. I mean, even just coming in and holding their hand to get started, go through the steps with them, as we mentioned earlier, this might just be the first rodeo for some franchisees. So, having someone there to guide them and teach them how to, give them that proper support that they're looking for in order to be truly successful is, it's an astronomical idea, especially helping them with the grand opening, being there, promoting it, doing the press release. Those are a lot of things that people like me, for instance, who have never owned a franchise or owned a business, I wouldn't necessarily know where to start. And I know that there's, millions of other people out in this country that can say the same. So, having that support is step one to success. And that's probably why you guys have come so far over the years. Is there something about, you know, the cost of it that is unique? I know we were talking a little bit before about how it's very easy to get started, but what should a franchisee expect as far as, the investment? What kind of liquid capital to start would they need, and what would the total investment look like?
Well, in the United States, we've found that we can develop a new store in a leased space. I mean,
Right.
not space that someone has to go out and construct a building, but go into a power strip center or a neighborhood strip center and take a bay of 1,500 to 1,800 square feet and develop a restaurant for $350,000 to $400,000, which is primarily furniture, fixtures, equipment, signage, cash registers, some leasehold build out with counters and flooring and wall decor and lighting. And that's pretty typical. We've discovered that someone who has roughly $150,000 in cash and good credit can qualify for a loan with lenders that we can introduce you to, so that you can open your $400,000 store with about $150,000 of cash in hand, and then the balance could be financed over 4 or 5 years. Our agreements are 10-year agreements, so usually, you can see a franchisee open a store, have the complete thing paid off in 3 or 4 years, and then the rest is profit as they go forward for the next 6 or 7 years. Our agreements also have a 10-year option to extend. If you operate for 10 years and say, I want to renew my franchise agreement, you can do that. Many of our franchisees that joined us in 2000, 2005, 2010 have renewed their agreements and continue to operate. They make money, so there's no reason to
Right.
to quit.
Right. Absolutely. Especially if they're, moving at such a fast rate, you've helped them get started. After 10 years, if you're extremely successful, what is the reason to walk away? Even at that rate, that's probably why, maybe perhaps at that time, people turn into multi-unit operators, and that's kind of the decision that they would make at that time. Is that typically what you see?
Yes, it is. I mean, that's, you know, anything that's making money, I mean, why would you walk away from it?
Right.
So that's one of the beautiful pieces of the Russo story that we can tell. We just have a lot of long tenured franchisees who have opened second, third, fourth, fifth stores. And in some cases, as they've gotten a little older, these franchisees have passed the business along to children or other relatives who have picked it up. So it becomes kind of a family asset that can go forward into the future with a new generation.
Sure. Do you guys have any incentives as far as, the investment goes? If someone were to come forward from, say, the military, or if they are coming in with a multi-unit purchase, what are the incentives or discounts rather at that point that you would offer?
Well, for a single unit franchisee, our initial fee is $35,000, and that basically covers the startup costs, the training, um, the help with the site selection,
Sure.
grand opening, all this other stuff. For multi-unit operators, let's say someone says, I want to do a 5-unit or 6-unit agreement in an exclusive territory, uh, a particular county or particular city or whatever, we can offer some incentives for that second, third, fourth unit. And the franchise fee drops for the second, third, or fourth unit, primarily because our costs to open that second or third unit are reduced.
Right.
The most expensive franchise is the first one.
Right.
The first one, then some of the work that we would do in the first store, you can do in your own store. For example, when you send your managers to training, you don't have to send them to Houston for training. You can train them in your store, which saves
Right.
money for you and for us. You're familiar with the market, so maybe you can find your own site. We don't need to help you with it. So we give that savings on to the developer. We do a lot of 5-unit franchise agreements, and people build the first one. A year later, they do a second one, and a year later, they do a third one. It's a nice way to grow in an area where you know that there's going to be sites available, as opposed to building one store and then discovering that when you're ready to open the second one that somebody else opened a Russo's 5 miles away or 10 miles away and took that site that you wish you had. So we can protect you with an area development agreement and provide incentives. Second thing, we do offer a military discount if someone comes in as a franchisee that has a military credential, honorable discharge, then we offer a $5,000 discount to say thank you for your patriotism and service.
Absolutely. Well, that's wonderful to hear. It's great incentives to come forward, especially if you're making, a big splash with multi-unit. And especially if you're coming, like you said, from the service, you guys offer a nice sweet incentive for that as well. Is there anything else to sort of close up the conversation? Anything else that's unique about Russo's New York Pizzeria franchise? Anything else you'd like to share?
Well, this is one thing that you may not find in other franchise brands that may be bigger or more well known, and that is at Russo's there actually is an Anthony Russo. He's about a 50-year-old man who runs the company. He's hands-on with virtually everything from sourcing authentic Italian products, olive oil and San Marzano tomatoes and things like that. The recipes are New York style recipes. So there is actually a person whose name is on our franchisee's building who has a vested interest in your success. A flub up, a mistake, an error would reflect on him. So he takes this very seriously.
Right.
He takes the franchisees seriously. And I can say quite honestly that much of the success of Russo's is the fact that there is a real person, not some salaried executive that was hired by some corporate board, but a real person. You can pick up the phone and call him. He answers himself. So I think this is a real plus for a franchisee, especially a new franchisee who's getting into the business. You're not going to be lost in the crowd. You're not going to be just another number. You're going to be a known person to the owner of the company who shares in your success.
Absolutely. I mean, it's wonderful to be able to put a face to the name, like you said, it's personal and he takes it seriously because of course it is his name out there.
Yes,
And it's wonderful to have that experience of being able to speak to the person who is making all of this happen, giving all the credit to not only yourself for starting a location and opening up an expansion of Russo's Pizza, but as well as, getting in touch with the man who runs the show, the man who started it all. So, that's a really great thing to, expect as a franchisee, is having that family feel, having that team behind you, not just working for you, of course, but working with you. So, it's really great information. I truly thank you for your time, and hopefully we have some new franchisees that are looking forward to that Russo's experience. So thank you
I
for your
hope
time.
so. I look forward to working with any business person of good, a good character who's interested in developing new units and in territories that make sense for all of us. Thank you so much for your consideration, and I wish you the very best.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure working with you, Kim. Thanks so much.